You're listening to Technically PvP, a podcast about player versus player in the world of Warcraft.
For the glory of Stormwind! Lucaruga! Victory or death!
It's October the 17th, 2018, and you're listening to Technically PvP, a podcast where we analyze the various aspects of player versus player in the game World of Warcraft. Hey, I'm Jarisar, a PvP apprentice, and on behalf of Andolin and Winstead, welcome to the show. I am so pleased for this, guys. I want to welcome our guest for today's show. It's Team Neat, the 3-time winners of Resurgent Esport tournaments, and the underdog team that fought their way into the final brackets in the second Fall NA Cup just a couple weekends ago. Guys, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on?
This is awesome. I watched you guys. I never knew about you because honestly, just like I watched a little bit of the Resurgent Esports, but watching those is kind of it's like watching, I hate to say it, but kind of watching like the Little League or something like that.
Hey man,
it's really cool to watch, but I don't pay that hard attention. And then seeing you guys up there, you know, on the /Warcraft Twitch channel, literally killing some of the number one names that we're used to seeing, and just it was absolutely out of my mind. Can you tell me, and I'm sure some of our listeners who maybe or may have not seen that yet, who are you guys? Like, tell us a little about yourselves. Like, why are you a team and stuff?
My name's Alex. I started PvPing in WoD Season 3, and from then, that's where I met Eddie and Nick, 2 members of the Team Neat right now. And at the time, Eddie also knew Tiber, who's the 4th member of Team Neat. And so we've known each other for a long time, and we'll be playing a lot together, and we would just coincidentally be getting rating, and we're like, wow, we can really get high rating. And we get high rating, we get glad first time, and it was like, wow, we could do better. We chased for rank 1, we got rank 1, and then eventually we just thought to ourselves, wait, we can be an actual team. So with a lot of practice and a lot of playing, eventually like using the Resurgent tournaments is like a confidence booster. Going towards the Warcraft Cups, like gradually we just kept getting better placements, going from 8th to 6th to 4th in our last one. We aren't like just arena players like that play together. We're like really good friends, and we've known each other for a long time.
So do you guys know each other like in real life as well as online, or only through online then?
I think all of us through online except for Tiber and Eddie.
Okay, cool. We'll save the rest of the questions because I want to know more about you guys, but let's get into the show. And I think that gave us a pretty good teaser as to, you know, who you guys are. So I love that. Thank you. So sorry, I just heard a kid scream in the background. It's awesome. All right. Well, hey, that's
can't blame me this time. My kids aren't home.
I know. This is awesome. All right. Well, this is great. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. Let's get into our show then. The first thing we always kick off with is what have we been up to these last couple of weeks in game. So, Winstead, let's see if you actually have played or if you've just been working some more again.
No, I actually played this last week. So I've got my Discipline Priest to cap. I think that was. I think we talked about that last week or last show, and I've been able to push him to 1400 rating. And so
moving up.
Yeah, no. Well, and this is my first time playing Disc Priest. Brand new to the class, and I really wanted to see, you know, what it takes to heal on a Disc Priest. And I have to say, it's a little bit mind-breaking because the last 2 seasons of Legion, I was very heavy into Resto Shaman. and you heal with the mindset that when you don't need to heal, you do damage. So that's kind of the mindset that I had. Well, as Disc Priest, you heal by doing damage.
Yeah.
Not
And
quite the
so
throughput.
there was a lot of, I mean, especially when it took me like 7 or 8 matches to finally win a game. Because anytime a player would start losing health, I'd switch to healing. When what I should have been doing is like dumping more damage. And so there was a real mind shift that had to take place. You know, and it's so, I mean, gosh, there were a couple of times. And Garrison and we got to play a bit with Disc Priest. And that was finally when I was like starting to really understand how to do it and things like that. And even now, though, it's still, there's moments where I'm like, crap, my partner is dying. Does he have Atonement up? He's got Atonement up, then I'm popping this big DPS cooldown and going hard on that guy. You know, it was very weird and still getting used to it, but I'm really enjoying the playstyle. It's very active. It's unlike the Resto Shaman, which is very passive almost, where it's like, okay, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to deal damage. When somebody's starting to hurt, I'll heal. You know, it's not like that. It's like, oh crap, I see a big cooldown pop. I'm going to use a defensive because there is no catch up with Disc Priest. Like if you're not on top of
Shadowman's pretty strong.
Shadowman's strong, but it's a mana eater.
Yeah.
And so if you're dumping Shadowmans, you are just eating your mana really quickly. And you lose the mana race.
And twos with dampening already, it feels even weaker.
Oh
Especially
yeah.
with Disc Priest, 'cause
Oh
your
yeah.
throughput is so low.
No, and so having it's really helped me realize that when I see a Vendetta pop, I'm not holding on to a cooldown for it. I just, okay, Vendetta popped. I'm going to use a cooldown for that. You know, whether it's my Shadow Fiend to help keep output going so that he keeps up healing and atonement on him, or whether I do pain suppression or, you know, something along those lines that it's like, okay, Vendetta popped, I'm going to use a cooldown. You know, there is no like, oh, I'll wait for him to get low, then I'll pop a cooldown. No.
In twos, you have to respect the CDs.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's no different in threes, right? Especially some of the stuff that comes up.
So I've hit my goal, 1400 in Disc Priest. I've now started pushing my Druid to cap. He is 114 right now. I'm hoping to have him capped by the end of next week. Some family stuff going on and stuff like that, and then I'm going to push him to 1400, and I'll give another report.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to this because I'm really looking forward to what you come up with, especially as the hot fixes start coming through. They're almost done, it looks like, for now, right? And then we'll see where all the healers are sitting, and I'd love to hear what that's going to look like later into.
Yeah.
Well,
my goal is to have every healer hit 1600 at least. You know, at some point during the expansion, just so I can, I mean, because at 1600, I think that I have a good grasp so that if I was to focus heavily on a character, I could probably push him to a 2K.
Totally. Okay.
So.
Andelin, what have you been up to these last couple weeks, buddy?
Well, right now I am in the frozen tundra of the Atlantic Northeast for work. Still trying to stay warm. I'm not going to say the state because I don't want to offend any of our listeners who may be shivering listening to this podcast. But
do all the people around you talk like they're like from Fargo? Hey, is that where it is?
No, it's not that cold, but it's close.
Okay.
I'm still in the US of A. I still have my freedom. You know what I mean? So, as I offend our Canadian listeners,
you're screwed either way, buddy. You're good. Just keep going.
Yeah, but so I've been hosting our Resurgent tournaments, and which we did great. I'll save the fanfare for later, but I've also been continuing to run my PvP stuff. I mentioned last time that I was able to get 2K plus in every bracket, and now I'm like 20 points away from 2,200 in RBGs.
Wow.
So we're getting there. We're getting there, boys. Slowly grinding.
Nice.
I slowed you down. Sorry.
Yeah, Tiber actually is the reason I'm not 22, so Him and Dingle decided
there's a
to take
story
crap
here.
on our team. So
Well, hey. I can understand why you're not 22 because I imagine Tiber is a great guy, but he can only carry you so much. You know, you
So we went
probably
against
really
him.
injured. You probably really injured the poor boy, and so you know.
Actually, we faced off in the eye of the storm.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
even better. So,
He
in
said,
other words,
"Oh,
you
I'm
got
gonna
slapped
make you
down.
Yeah.
Go heel."
All right. Thank you very much, Andalin. That's awesome, bud.
Mhm.
How long are you traveling around for before you get back home?
I'll be flying back on
Great.
Halloween, and then of course I'll be getting back on Halloween, and then about 12 hours later, getting back to the airport to fly over to BlizzCon with all sorts
Wow.
of super awesome resurgent merchandise and fun stuff. So find me at BlizzCon, and if you tell me that you're a PvP podcaster, I'll try to find something to give you. If you tell me about how you like the podcast, and you find me at BlizzCon, I'll hook you up with something.
Okay, for a second there, I thought you were saying only PvP podcasters, which I think I'm pretty much the only one.
No,
Where
Yeah.
we are. So,
Yeah, so-
like, woo! I get all the
Woohoo!
loot.
Free stuff for
No,
me.
any listeners, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
So not you.
So the podcast is. Yeah, not me. I don't. Just like in Warcraft, I don't get any good loot boxes. Okay. All right, hey,
it's that piece of
Corley.
loot that you get that's a green off of a boss. You ever done?
What's up? What's up?
What have you been up to the last couple weeks, man?
I've just been playing Arena and playing RPGs, just making sure that I don't go rusty or anything. And I've also haven't had much time to play because I've had a soccer season. But after that, I'll be able to put a lot more time into the game.
Very nice, very nice. Do you play 2s, 3s, and RBGs?
Oh yeah.
Wow,
And soccer.
and soccer. That's
Are you
a lot of time.
Are
in
you
the
a
day.
healer on the soccer team, or are you DPS?
I'm a DPS.
Nice. That's what I'm talking about, dude.
Nice. All right, hey, then Tiber, what have you been up to this last couple weeks?
Well, in the World of Warcraft, been playing a lot of RPGs actually. So, obviously threes is mainly what we do, but for some reason lately, BFA RPGs have been pretty fun. I play quite a bit with Alex and whatnot. I don't know. I've never really taken RPGs that seriously, so recently it's been pretty fun to do that. Besides that, I actually raid. I'm the one man of the team that raids. So I actually
I could only do that for 2 weeks.
yeah, we just started Mythic, which is we're not like a super like advanced guild or anything. I just do it more for fun. So Monday we took down the first Mythic boss, which was our first time in Mythic. Which apparently that boss is one of the easier ones. I mean, it's like almost easier than some heroic bosses, but still, get a Mythic achievement, pretty cool. Besides that, just trying to queue threes when I can. I actually playing Restogerd in twos a little bit. I ran into Andalin one time playing Restogerd in
Tiber
twos
is
too.
my gatekeeper.
I am somehow for more than one bracket. But yeah, I help play Restogerd and help kind of like cap some of our alts. You know what I mean? As a team, we've actually been trying to do a better job playing our alts. We're kind of known as the Dancing with the Stars team, as you guys know, and
Yeah.
we do pretty well playing a pretty solo comp, kind of an offensive style. But we've been trying to work on our alts. So when I play Restogerd and twos, help cap like Nick's Demon Hunter and Eddie's Enhanced Shaman and stuff. So it's been pretty good.
Nice. That'll be awesome then, because you guys can bring in a bit more modulation to your comp.
Yeah,
To really
comp
kinda-
diversity, exactly.
Yeah, do the comp versus comp stuff. All right, Eddie, what have you been up to?
Arena, Mythic Plus. I'm not a raiding kind of guy, that's not my style. That's pretty much
hear
it.
you,
No
bro.
RPGs either. It's been pretty boring, not gonna lie.
Really?
Yeah, RPGs are not hitting the spot on a mage. I don't like sitting nodes. Pretty boring.
Yeah.
Don't you just go fire and wreck face?
Fire's pretty awful in RPGs, I think. You need like Frost for the slows and to sit, and then
Mhm.
other than that, you can play like Arcane on like 1 or 2 maps, and that's it. Pretty boring.
True. Okay. Well then, that sounds. I mean, It sounds like overall, aside from a little bit of some dungeons or some raid stuff, you guys are pretty much just all in 100%, always doing PvP. So that's pretty awesome. Myself, I have as Winstead mentioned, me and him did some twos together, which was that was a lot of fun, buddy. That was great. I was really surprised when you messaged me and we got into it, and that was great. We did. I think I dropped your rating somewhat, but that's okay.
Yeah, no, I was at 14, and I'm now down to like high 12s. I think
actually I dropped you down to like 900 by the time we were done.
No. Fortunately, now in all honesty, we switched to 3s. And
we did.
I do believe that is why I didn't lose any more rating that night.
That's true. Although I felt bad for my lucky guildmate who volunteered to join us. So we're playing. I think it was Beastmaster. Yeah, it was Beastmaster,
Arms Warrior, Disc Priest.
Yeah,
and kind of a janky comp, but we were making it work. I mean,
yeah, we were. It was actually pretty fun. We started. I think I started at 0. He started at 1900. I was at 0. 760. You were at 0.
I was at 0 when we first started.
That's right.
Placement games. Those will hold you back.
Yeah, we really hurt. It was really sad because every time we'd lose, it would be like Garrasar 0 rating lost, Winstead 0 rating lost, and then your buddy, the one that joined us, was like 50, 60 points around, just gone.
He was just dropping
a rock. I mean, losing almost 100 points.
Yeah. Well, he started at 1900. I think he was down to like 15, 14, something like that by the time we're done.
Yeah,
that's okay. So we did that. You and me were able to participate in the Dark Moon Herald podcast. That was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
That was a blast. Wow, I'm so glad they finally I don't think I'm not going to say they did it for me, but I'm so glad that they recorded at a time that I could actually participate in when they invited us. That was awesome.
Yeah, because the last time it was just me and Winstead, right?
I don't even think. Have you been on the Dark Moon Herald yet?
Yeah, me and you did.
Okay. Yeah. This was the first time Garrasar was able to join.
Yeah, because it was like, because normally they record at like, oh my god, early Sunday mornings that I am not waking up to. Because all right. So other than that, I guess that's about it. I guess the one other thing I've been up to is once again doing the real true player versus player on the auction house, and that has been a struggle. I'm gonna admit that's been quite the struggle. But other than that, I guess we can move into our upcoming WoW PvP events.
Get in there and fight! Stop hiding!
All right, so actual events that people can sign up to, I'm not actually aware of any. I've been seeking, I've been looking, I've been trying really hard, but I just can't find any other events that are coming up to date. That said, I am going to put some links in the show notes. There is the opening week for BlizzCon starting on the 29th of October. That is going to be over at their, what's it, the Birmingham or whatever their, oh shoot, I'm totally brain farting it now. Is it Birmingham? No. What's the name of the, where's the esports arena they have?
Are you talking about in California?
Yeah, in Cali. Yeah.
The Blizzard Arena?
Yeah, where is that?
Irvine?
Burbank.
Okay.
Thank you. The Burbank. Thank you. Wow. Okay, yeah. So, so they're going to be doing those. That's where the opening weekend is going to be happening. I know it is going to be streamed, but there's still tickets available. Get out there. If you guys enjoy it, go out there and please support it if you can, because I am concerned that without people going to watch it, that then again it's going to disappear, and it's going to become, they're going to fill it with something else. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't want that. So the other thing that has happened, there was another esports website that was given to me, a link courtesy of Alexander over at challenge.com, and I highly recommend, if you guys want, go check it out. There's nothing upcoming on that website per se, but there was some really cool stuff that had been done previously that I was not aware of. One was, I think it was a 1v1 of level 70 rogues was one that was really funny looking, and a couple other things going on. There is a No Survivors duel tournament that is also on there on the oh wait, I'm reading that. If I'm reading that, that's on the 14th, so that already happened. So anyways, some really cool stuff. Go check it out. I sound like a complete idiot reading this right now because not prepared. But that's okay. All right. Let's check out the PvP news.
All right. Who ordered up an extra large can of whoop ass?
Well, I think XRB to the Moon did. So,
Yeah.
Holy moly. So the third cup happened on the 7th and 8th, the 7th and 8th of October for EU and NA. So on the EU side, XRB to the Moon, they congratulations, Blizzo, Walrick, Looney, Zpie. They just walked through. It was like nobody really challenged them. Am I wrong?
No, they play really well together as a team, and they know the matchups.
They have a lot of comps.
Mhm.
Well, yeah.
They're very good at multi-classing.
Yeah. No, definitely they have that. It's just it blew me away. I was waiting for something to happen. It was like a game here, a game there. I think their biggest challenge was probably against Tempo Storm, right?
Mhm.
It's kind of scared them a bit, I think. But other than that, they stayed on the upper bracket the whole way. It was just a waltz. And then when they went up against Tempo Storm again at the very end, it was a 4-0. It was like, eh.
Yeah, they're probably some of the most adaptive players, and like Alex said, they have such a big wide roster with all their classes that they can kind of figure out what to do, and they're so really good. So that's probably one of the teams to really watch out for come BlizzCon.
I agree. I am concerned though, because I was really surprised Method Black got knocked out during the semifinals down into the lower bracket, and then got knocked out completely by Skill Capped. Like what happened there, right?
Yeah,
I was expecting to see them at the end.
The hype gets built up, you know what I mean? We see these players that are really good, but people got to remember that every team that plays in these tournaments, is usually pretty dang good to get there, Especially Europe, they have a wide variety of teams and specific players that are just incredible. So people always think Method Black's going to drive through because they've done really well in previous tournaments, but people got to remember, these other teams are really, really good too.
Yeah, and they're all finding different answers and trying to find and attack different angles and weaknesses maybe that Method Black has. So it's you're under a huge amount of assault, I'm sure.
Yeah, and you get a little comfortable when you're winning
right.
Method Black was, I think, maybe.
And that's actually a good point, I guess, because from Cup 2 to Cup 3, there's the time that they've spent together on the ladder, all playing against each other. Plus, there was a couple hot fixes and some tuning that happened as well, right? So between those
ever since we've gone into BFA, Method Black has not been performing as well as they used to, And that's really the only really if you want to pin the point where Method Black stopped being uber dominant was when we hit into BFA. And so, I mean, not saying that they're not great players, but they just haven't found their sweet spot yet. And if they're able to get it before BlizzCon, no doubt in my mind that they'll take it. But they just haven't been performing as well as they have in Legion.
I think it's because they haven't adapted yet.
Yeah.
Just like XRB, already adapted. I feel like when Method Black played their main classes, but sometimes their main class isn't always their best option. But then when you don't play your ults a lot, you don't feel confident on them.
Mm-hmm.
So then you just put your main classes into a comp that is just so hard for you. And I feel like that's what happened to Method Black. They didn't have any variety, and XRB to the Moon and other teams did. But I think Method Black will get everything going.
I'm sure
way before BlizzCon, they will usually.
Well, plus there's also usually the week before opening where they're all there playing together locally on the LAN, getting used to everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
They aren't flown in the day before. So they will definitely start, if they aren't already, there will definitely be some changes that we'll see there. So.
Yeah, I know Waz
Right.
tweeted that he was going to take a little break from streaming out as much just to focus on practicing and stuff after that tournament. So they definitely have something planned. That's for sure.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm only hoping it's not going to be double Demon Hunter like we see from Method Orange. Just saying.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of Method Orange, congratulations to them for taking the 7th of October's the third cup there. So Sea-Doo, Trill, Mez, and Sam I am. I am going to note for fun. So this team, for fun, they impacted the whole tournament. Like this was a tournament that was going to determine the last points, so we knew what the seeding was going to be for BlizzCon. And this team, I love Jelly Beans. I do.
Mm-hmm.
I loved cheering for him when he was in Planet Global last year, with Rub Cup and all that. And that team, they were just ripping through and forcing teams down into the lower bracket that probably wouldn't otherwise if they weren't there. So I think they were a
Jelly
major
Beans?
upset.
You talking about Rosita Jones?
Did I say?
Jelly Beans is on the move. Gosu Crew.
Oh, my apologies. Yes, I meant Rosita Jones.
But they did
Yeah,
play
yeah.
together. Jelly Beans and Rosita Jones were on Panda Global together.
They were. That's why I had it in my head.
Yes.
They were
Okay,
the
okay.
underdog stompers then
Yes,
as well.
yes.
So Rosita
Sure.
Jones is kind of known for doing that. Just kind of
True, yeah.
being a good player that's makes anything work. And
Mhm.
it's pretty cool that they did
Especially
that.
that Fire Mage. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just brain farted that and called the wrong person the wrong name.
It's okay. I got your back, buddy.
A lot of people, a lot of teams, a lot of names.
Yep, just like the U.S.
Mhm.
Keeping Canada safe.
You did not.
Oh no!
All right. You just made me peek my microphone on that. That's horrible. All right. Okay, so guys, between these two tournaments, did you guys watch any of it? And if so, what were your main points if you saw them?
I didn't catch this most recent round. But the round before that, I was very into, and I think we already talked about it, so I don't feel the
Yeah, we
need
did.
to rehash.
Okay.
So,
I
mean, but neat. I noticed you guys weren't in the. Did you guys compete this last tournament round, or were you? Did you take a break from the tournament scene?
I couldn't attend the tournament, so we didn't sign up.
Okay.
Hard to play without a healer, fortunately.
Yeah. Double DPS in a threes tournament is probably not the way to win.
Triple DPS, Rogue Boomkin Mage.
Yeah.
You guys could
You
definitely
guys don't
help me
want to
with
see
that one.
Tiber Argent out there. It's not.
It
not
is a thing. I will attest.
It's out of practice.
Definitely.
And that would I'll be very honest with you. I'd be very intrigued because normally on these teams in the arenas that we the tournaments that we see, it's always you have 2 DPS and they cycle through their classes and the healer cycles through the healer class. It would be very intriguing to see you guys change that trend. Throw Tiber in on the Resto Druid and then Corlick, you go, something else. I mean, a lot of people would be very blown away by that, I think.
Well, I mean, we have some stuff we've been thinking of for this next WoW season that we plan on doing as far as multi-classing. Right now I can't share it. Just like once the tournament comes.
Keep your secrets off our recording. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, yeah, we plan on coming this next season hot, 100%.
Wow.
Well, I mean, should we dive into the main event, or do we still have a couple more things
No.
we
We
wanna
still have
talk
a bunch of news to get through here. So
Okay. So I'll hold my tongue.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk because I'm.
Me too. I'm totally excited. We have a bunch of news to get through, and we're already 30 minutes in. So I know
We're
I
doing
can.
good. We're doing solid.
Yeah, we're doing all right. So on to the rest of this. Let's get into that. So the last tournament that happened recently was the Resurgent Esport tournament back on the 13th. Again, actually, speaking of which, we got the boys right here. So congrats to Neat for taking that and winning the absolute fabulous Murloc hat. That was awesome. So
We look forward to that one.
yeah, no, well, I don't.
We need a team picture.
Well, didn't
That's what we
they
need.
say that on the stream where you guys had to send in a picture so that they could put up on the social media? So I'm gonna admit though, I actually participated in that a bit, just on the watching and in Twitch stream and stuff, and I'm gonna say you guys didn't look like you had that much trouble. There was a little bit at the end there. There was a little bit back and forth, but you guys kind of owned it pretty hard. I think Fort Kyle was about the only team that gave you a little bit of guff, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, we were playing the Disc Priest version. I don't know if you guys saw that at all, and that's a little harder into the Rogue Mage matchup. We kind of had to play a little different way. We were kind of almost playing at a disadvantage, but we played pretty well. And Nick, our rogue, who's not here, he played really well as he usually does in tournaments. Just like makes crazy plays, and we've been known to kind of be the reverse sweeper people. We've done that quite a few times. We did that in one of the Resurgent tournaments. We did that in the Warcraft tournament to Flop's team. And so usually after a couple games, we can figure stuff out. And we just, we got kind of lucky little gimp kills, but it was good.
That's
the
fine.
last series.
A kill is a kill, right? So
yeah, definitely.
the hot fixes. So I don't know if you guys, I'm going to call it, I'm going to throw a shade on Blizzard on this one. I'm a little perturbed. They have a hot fix blog. They've been running this thing since I don't know when. I remember in Legion, same thing happened for some reason. But yet, again, they decide to throw up on the forum side a post in blue text of, hey, we're going to be doing this. But it never made it into the hot fixes. So there's going to be 2 links in the show notes today, guys. But hot fixes wise, there really wasn't much recently for PvP. I think the only thing I saw, it was on a Holy Death Knight, converting a festering wound into a necrotic wound with necrotic strike will now correctly grant Festermite and Azurite trait. So they fixed their coding. Awesome. I think what else was there? Then there's a big nerf with they changed the radius on flying daggers, the PvP talent, and how it interacts with Fan of Blades. And
that was huge. That was huge.
Yeah. But I mean, it was a little overpowered, right?
Yeah, it was especially overpowered on RBGs. And if you could triple stack that trait and you were doing the most damage in a team fight as a rogue, which doesn't really make sense.
No, that's ridiculous.
Rogues should not be in team fights. I mean, obviously stuns can be good, but when you're topping damage over AoE caster classes and things, made it really awkward.
They're great single target damage. I mean, you can't deny that. They're huge burst, but when they're doing huge burst against a group,
well,
that seems like, wait a second here. You've just won the lottery here. You are not only an amazing burst damage single target, but you are also amazing damage burst damage group targets. Yeah.
My Holy Pally's pure heart talent has a little something to say about that. But
yeah, but a rogue actually has to use their fingers to play with the keyboard, not their face. So I give it more to the rogue.
All right, let me know when you start leveling that Holy Paladin.
Okay.
I don't know if I am going to level that Holy Paladin after the way you talked about him.
Oh, I know. Me and Vindy sat on here and just tore to shreds.
I know, man. It's like, funny. I'm saving that one for last now.
I'm afraid. I'm very afraid. So on top of this, I'm sure you guys know, but the Phantom Blades, it was actually reduced by 75% to enemy players. So that thing was nerfed almost to the ground. Like, that's huge.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think there's much else really for PvP, at least on the hot fixes blog. But then, like I said, over on the forum side, Laura decided to drop back on the 10th a full round of PvP balance that they threw down almost immediately right through hotfixes onto the servers. And this one was huge. I mean, mages got some serious nerfs and some buffs. I mean, there's some back and forth there. Assassination rogues even got another nerf. Like, overall, they got a 6% reduction in damage. And then Enhancement Shaman. they got a 5% straight across the board nerf, not including the fact that their mana regeneration was reduced. They're off healing, which makes sense because they're enhancement. So why are they healing anyways? But that got nerfed. And then what's this? The Rolling Storm, the Azerite trait, Rolling Storm, additional Storm Strike damage now diminishes per stack when in combat with enemy players. So that one kind of I didn't quite understand because I haven't played Enhancement Shaman, but I'm guessing that has to do with Turbo Cleave and how Enhancement Shaman interact with Arms Warriors. I'm guessing, but
when you look at a lot of those buffs and nerfs, though, a lot of it happened because there was some PvE buffs, and it pushed Enhancement Shamans, rogues, and mages kind of over the top a little bit.
Oh,
and
okay,
and so PvP wise, to fix the little problems they were having in PvE, just kind of broke them in PvP. And when you look at what they've done PvP wise, they've actually just pulled them back to where they were pre PvP buffs.
So once again, the PvE devs screwed over the rest of us by overbuffing something, and then we had to react to it.
And you really saw that in the not this last tournament, but the tournament before. That's why there were so many enhancement shamans and everything else, because they were just really, really kind of broken in the PvP side, because they were already doing stable. They were good in PvP. And then when they did those PvE changes, it's just like, oh, these good classes all of a sudden became amazing because of what they did in PvE, which I miss my templates. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. For this kind of thing, it does. It really affects. Like, I can only imagine how little of an effect some of that stuff would have made if we had templates. But we are where we are, so that's okay. The dev Q&A. Did anybody actually watch that? I personally didn't. I checked it out like a little bit later, but
just Asmongold's responses and stuff.
Yeah, I just heard about it a little bit. No, watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 1 hour long dev Q&A. There was one question that was PvP, which was pretty good. Kind of asking about, because so there's a dev, Chris Kaliki. He's on Twitter often. He seems to really have taken a grip onto some of the PvP stuff. I haven't seen anything that actually labels him as being a PvP dev, but he seems to definitely be falling into the shoes of that Hlinka left empty. Anyway, he had indicated on Twitter that the dev team was definitely looking at Warlocks and DKs, and then there was nothing heard. And hotfixes were rolling through, a bunch of tuning was happening, and we weren't hearing. So a wonderful question was posted, and they responded, and they did agree that DKs are still a bit squishy. They are looking, they being Blizz, are looking at improving the tankiness. So kind of understanding that because of the lack of mobility, that they should be a little bit more tanky in that way, right? So they acknowledge that. They also are acknowledging that Warlocks were switched more single target in BFA, and that was probably not the right decision, at least in PvP side. So there's probably going to be some stuff changing them back over to multi-target rot dot damage, which personally I love. I love the idea of doing all my curses and watching the people just kind of drop, not doing a bunch of dot and watching their health not move at all until I decide to drain life. And then it's like I am literally sucking the life right out of them, which is kind of cool in its own way if you want to look at it that way. That said, and I have a couple of links here. Oh, yes, go ahead.
With the drain life mechanic, they're nerfing it. It's actually really good for the game, because right now, like how locks and Ellies, and actually a little bit like how pharaohs are, like they're all relied on a gimpy mechanic, and I don't actually agree with the mechanic, like of just having your class rely on one ability to win you a game. Pharaoh's Ferocious Bite. Many times, like, my partner could be at 70k HP, Ferocious Bite, dead. Many times, Lock has drained life. Wall pop it, dead. It's unhealable. And with Ellie Shamans, like how Ellie Shamans used to be with consistent, like different schools of damage with Lava Burst, putting Flame Shock on everyone, Ice Fury, and then Chain Lightning, Stormkeeper now is just Urshock. And I think bringing those classes back to a wide variety of damage abilities is going to help the game.
I totally agree with you. I hate the fact that I hate the one spell janky mechanics that I'm doing just a couple things to build up to the one thing, because it's totally it can be so easily counterable, and then when I'm countered, I can't do anything. So then I just pull out my wet noodle and I start slapping somebody with wet noodle again, right? And I agree. Like you feel like you're doing nothing, you're doing nothing. You're building up a resource, and then you push one button and something dies. Like that just seems
not
rewarding.
Wrong.
Boring play style as well for a lot of people. Like it's boring to be on the receiving end and on the playing end a lot of times when you have to do stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I will agree though is and I remember somebody having issues with that with mages, because you lock out a druid out of nature and they can't do anything, but you lock a mage out of frost and they have a couple other schools to play with, or you lock them out of you know what I mean, like it there, but it kind of it's part of that the class fantasy stuff versus homogenization. And I don't agree with homogenization. I don't want everybody to have 2-4 schools of whatever like that anyway.
I mean, what you want is that when you push a button, that it is meaningful to push.
Agreed. That's exactly, yes.
And every time you push that button, you should be pushing that button because it's the best button to push in that given situation, and not the only button to push.
Yeah, and I'd go a step further to say exactly, not the only button. So we're like it's a challenging game to be able to require a level of play, to be able to have multiple options on what to do, but being able to have there be enough depth in the game to where, depending on your choice of buttons, you can either make really good plays or just be like, I need to figure out something else to do here. This is not working. You know what I mean? Like, to be able to have that ability to outplay is more reason than not why I've seen a lot of people leave the game. Specifically, the first person that comes to mind is Hansel. Like, he started playing Fortnite because you could outplay people in Fortnite. Like a free like battle royale, not first person, but battle royale game. Like, come on, man, really? WoW doesn't have a better way to I don't know. It's just I think the game could really benefit from better, more depth, to some of the skill levels and stuff like that people could have.
Well, and we already know though this has been a discussion before in many venues where the reduction of abilities has shallowed out some of that, and that's where that lies, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Most definitely.
So,
in my opinion, it's like the depth of abilities don't really change, just how much they matter, in difference. Now the game is obviously more way less abilities than it was in MoP. No denying that, but it just means that because you have less buttons. So, for example, when you had prep as a rogue, and it reset your evasion. Now, if you press evasion at the wrong time, you don't have prep evasion to save you. Now, your abilities, you don't have extra abilities to save you. So you either use your abilities right or you use them wrong and then you die. Is how I see it now.
Game is definitely less forgiving.
Yes.
But
I guess that's
especially
the flip side.
Especially with the GCD changes, the game is really a lot less forgiving, because if you do push that button at the wrong time, you're locked for 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds before you can really do your next thing. So that really hurts. It definitely changed the play style, and we're definitely seeing that in the tournaments, and I know I've seen it a lot in my own gameplay. So
yeah, the ability pruning I feel like affected more 1v1 outplaying than anything, whereas when you do that, like Alex is saying, your abilities tend to mean more, and also makes it a little more team oriented. That kind of started, it's kind of the beginning of WoD, is when that really hit, when like they took a lot of abilities and became more reliant on your teammates like working together and using their abilities like one off of another together. I don't know if that makes any sense. And you really had to work more as a team than you could do, because you couldn't individually like do all these like little outplays on one player or anything as much. So you had to do it. You can overlap defensives, like Alex was saying, even more so than ever. And so it became even more important.
True. I do agree, though, is I'd rather have one ability that means something than two abilities that mean meh. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of that. I do agree that some of the abilities needed to be pruned back, because even as like, for the longest time I was playing a Warlock, and I had a hockey saw. All my bars were full, but half the time I was just putting Shadow Bolt because that's the only thing that mattered, right? Because the rest of them didn't really matter. Like, I'd play a couple of different buttons, but they really didn't. They're like maybe a couple niche things, but Anyways.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it, we've really hurt Blizzard as a player base, because anytime they do change something, it's, very outragey and you're ruining the game and stuff like that. So Blizzard's very reluctant now to really take steps that they need to take in order to fix it.
No,
what you don't
no.
You don't think the player base is like, how dare you?
Oh no! I totally agree that the old classic players totally have been butthurt and screamed at high heaven. But now they have classic servers, so they can just go and play over there, and we can actually have a real game and not worry about them, forcing changes that don't actually matter because they don't even play anymore. Well, they're playing over there now.
That would be lovely, wouldn't it?
You can send your hate mail to at Winstead on Twitter.
What? Why are you sending it to me, buddy? You're the one who said it.
I already sent mine.
If you're gonna have them, if you're gonna.
So I know. Let's get through the Q&A. So I love the discussion. I let it go, but we need to move this on. You guys kind of brought up an interesting point about changes in abilities and just how all that. So the devs are aware, and a lot of people have been, expounding across all the different avenues on Reddit, on social media, over on the official forums, how this is broken, that's broken, why isn't this changed, from their point of view. And I loved how Ian kind of put it across is there's a balance that they're looking at. And so previously they had been they've been fairly reactive to the feedback, and they've been taking a look at the numbers and try to find that juggle point. But in that fact, if you actually look at kind of some other esports, if they wait for a bit, what happens is yes, that's a strong comp, but then somebody finds the counter comp to that comp, and then the meta kind of settles itself out. And previously they had been kind of a little too quick to react, and therefore the meta kept kind of, it was very quicksandy, right? And there's always that comment about the flavor of the month and everything else, right? So now what we're going to see is there is a possibility where they are not going to react as quickly as people want, and we may see a season where it's very melee heavy, because that's okay. And then next season, we may see some changes, in reaction to a large data set of information rather than a very small, one weekend. And then we'll see a different season with a kind of a different meta, which may morph mid-meta depending on how that works out. What do you guys think about that?
Well, obviously, I'd rather Blizzard always make the most impactful and more in-depth decisions that explain what they do than these quick decisions that are based off just people complaining. But The meta changing, I am a fan of, but not as often as like they made it have. I personally thought like BFA season 1 was at a really good point before Sub Bros got nerfed. The patch before that, I felt like the game was actually very fun, but that's just my opinion. And then after those changes, the meta changes, and everyone has to adapt to new classes, and I think that should really only be like a season thing. I feel like new season starts, find out what's good, start practicing, and be ready by the end of the season to get the title you want.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Hot fixes are one thing, to fix extreme things, but when the entire meta shifts, sometimes week or like bi-weekly, it's pretty extreme, like Alex said, because then you start to question what you're playing. And
a big part is always to have every class and spec viable, even if they aren't in the meta, because there's many times where like I could have just we could have just stopped playing Boomkin Rogue. Like there's a few seasons where the meta was just not in our favor, but when you play like 3 viable classes, I feel like you can always find a way, like even if that comp is on the meta.
Yeah, and you don't have to win every match, right?
No.
But you want every match to feel like you could have won it. And I mean, Blizzard has all of the they have all the stats. They see every single arena match. They know what comps are winning more than others. And definitely if there's something that like totally breaks away and just seems very unbeatable, hot fix it. Look at what's going on in those fights and why those matches are just so hard in the one comp's direction. I definitely agree with that. That's what it's for. But definitely, I mean, we're players. We like to break things.
Yeah.
We like to go, hey, dude, do you realize that if we combine these 3 things, something dies instantly? And it's like, ooh, really? And we run with it, and then hopefully, if it's not a truly broken mechanic, players will go, crap, man, when they do those 3 things, we die. So what can we do to counter that?
Yep.
And that's what really makes the game fun.
But that's the whole thing, is if they respond immediately to the complaints and then make a hot fix, then as people are trying to find the way around it, it changes again. So so I think they're slowing that down, which I like.
That's definitely a good thing.
Yeah. So
give us the time to see if we can unbreak what we break.
Indeed. So I know I tweeted it out before on Twitter. Wowhead has delved in and dug up some of the stuff on the PTR. So there are some changes that are happening to a bunch of classes. There is a upcoming rework on numbers, talents. Pay attention to that. Please give positive feedback back to Blizzard. If you think it's junk, tell them why with some substantiation, please. All right, let's hear the last bit. Also from the Q&A, hybrid healing is going to be looked at and dialed back. A enhancement shaman should not be healing equivalent to a full-fledged healer, and that is just one small example. What's up?
I personally am actually like a fan of hybrid healing, but when damage is always very high, because hybrid healing when damage is low is broken because it's going to heal over the damage because the damage is low. But when the damage is very high, the healing's not going to matter as much. And because if you cover the hybrid class and the healer and get a full stun on the DPS that you're killing, then it's rewarding because when damage is high, you covered all possible healing they could have ever done, and then you win off that setup because they can't do anything about it.
Fair enough. And that's a good point, is if a team can actually do that, then holy moly, kudos to them, right?
They should win the game.
Now, I guess you're right, though. Like currently with the meta where we're at, the melee and the damage is very high. So hybrid healing is valid versus, if I'm not, what was it? Was it Legion? Shoot. I want to say it was like 4 or something like that, where like a bunch of the damage got dialed back in that, and the games ended up going really long.
I know what point you're talking about. I might have been 4. I know it wasn't past 4, but I know it was season 4 before. But yeah, I do remember when games were just going till 15 minutes, and I had to play in those.
It was life draining. It was life draining.
It hurt.
I had, yeah. So I get what you're saying, and that's a valid point, and I appreciate the. I hope if Blizzard actually listens to this, which I doubt they are, but that'd be awesome. All right, last couple items, not really PvP, but kinda, because cancer is a bitch, and people throw that around all the time in PvP as a like, well, that's cancer. Well, you know what real cancer is really, really not a good thing. But I want to congratulate the running of the gnomes. It happened on the 13th of October, and they raised around $8,000 this year for the Cleveland Clinic for trying to find cures to cancer. So kudos to them. Yeah, that is real meta hot fixes right there. That's what I gotta say. All right. It did. Okay, the last couple items. I want to talk about this one. I think this is so somebody pointed out to me that some stuff's been happening on the official forums, and I haven't really been paying attention over there because I really don't like a lot of the negativity over there, so I avoid it. But I found this one post, and I gotta say, this has got to be the best, most honest post over on the official forums looking for mature players. Like an LFM, right? But I mean, the guy or girl, I really don't know, but absolutely, I just want to point that out. I'm going to put the link in the show notes. I think it's awesome. Then also, the next couple of posts we have, there is the PTR post for the honor talent changes that I just talked about that are coming from the Q&A. And last but not least, there was an official Blizzard post on their website for the Arena World Cup breakdown as to what is going to happen come BlizzCon. So this is the opening week and beyond. So I want to point out we got Method Black, which have top seeds, so they got a bye right off the go. We got Super Frogs versus Unitas Red, the Latin team. They're on the first go. We got Gosu Crew has a bye. Pen and Paper versus Reformed. So that's going to be really interesting because that's China versus EU. Then you got Method Orange has a bye. Making a Movie versus Cohesion Dream. Sorry, I had a hard time reading that. They're a Korean team, if I remember. XRB has a bye. And then Mad Dog versus Tempo Storm, which is APAC versus EU. So this is going to be a really interesting opening season. What do you guys think so far on initial setup on this? What do you guys think?
The bracket's pretty crazy looking at it.
You think?
It's just kind of packed with really good teams. And I mean, obviously, if you're going to BlizzCon, but like some of even the higher seeds are facing off really early, which is what's crazy. Like Tempo Storm could be facing XRB in the second round because they have the bye. Gosu Crew versus Method, or yeah, Gosu Crew could face off to Method Black pretty early in the bracket. Still, wouldn't be second round, but. So, I mean, it's just going to be like crazy matchups early on in the bracket. I mean, just like every BlizzCon, you never know what can happen.
Yeah, I agree. This is going to be absolutely insane. So, as I understand it, this is going to be streamed on the Twitch stream, right? The whole bracket should be streamed because they even do that even during BlizzCon. You don't have to buy a ticket for the virtual ticket just to watch that. It's all streamed live. But at the same time, I I hope people are watching. I hope people get in there, cheer on their teams, give what they think, and it's going to be awesome. The inspection UI is going to be available on Twitch, which is going to be amazing. And yeah, caster team. So I'm really awesome. I am really hyped about this. We have not just Venderuki, Healing Stat, Zico. Of course, we have Rich, Super Tease, and V Hell from the official team. But Joe Fernandez is actually on the official team as well for the caster team. So that's going to be awesome. He has some really good insight. I've really enjoyed listening to him when he does caster desk. So, okay. Wow. Everybody who's listening, thank you very much for staying this long. Guys, I really appreciate everything so far. But now we are in the subject of analysis.
I'm gonna light you up, sweet cheeks.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Manastorm. So, subject of analysis, I kind of alluded to earlier, but we are here pretty much just to talk to you guys. Team Neat. You guys went from a team that just enjoyed playing together, doing really good over on the regular rated ladder, and then decided, hey, we kind of want to get into something more. And I think that is just so awesome. I think it's something that is missed by a lot of people. People don't think they can do it. A little bit of defeatism, if you will, or fear of failure. Anyway, that said, you guys went through it, and now you went through, and you kept chunking at it. You went, like you said, you went from rank 8 to rank not so bad, and then up to rank. You finished 4th in a actual arena tournament, and like we saw, you guys took out the rejects, which, oh my gosh, like that is amazing. I have to ask you guys, like we kind of hit it a little bit at the beginning there. You kind of said you guys have been playing since since CATA, I think you said.
They didn't start. They played together in WAD a lot, which is still years ago, and then I started kind of playing with them early Legion, I think is what it was. So a little more recent than that. But...
Okay. Oh, so since WAD.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I forgot to write that down. But you guys have always been playing together? Like, I mean, obviously you came in a little bit after, but is it always been that way? Or I guess this is my question more towards Alex and Eddie. Were you guys were you guys playing together ever since WAD together, or was there like some in between stuff there?
It was most def like me, Alex, and Nick played together more than we played at the end of WAD for sure, and then at the start of Legion, pretty much like just together almost. And then me and Nick have been we've known each other, not really playing since MOP though. We just had each other added, and we played each other a few times, but not much.
Right. So, did you guys actually pick up the game in Warlords of Draenor? Is that the first time you started playing?
I think it's different for everyone. I started playing just PvEing and stuff, and questing and leveling a bunch of different characters on BC.
Okay.
And then
so
everyone
BC,
else,
baby.
I don't know.
All right. Tiber, when did you start playing?
I started playing the end of Wrath. The second to last season. Is that season 7 maybe? I think it was.
Okay.
The Relentless season, and I actually played Mage back then, but yeah. Right around then. I PvP'd actually. A lot of people said they only PvP'd. I got 2K in Wrath, and I thought it was the best thing ever, but it really meant nothing, looking back. But that was about when I started, I think, late 2008.
I PvP'd in Wrath, and I never made 2K, so to me that sounds pretty awesome.
Got your shoulders, yeah, it felt really good.
How about Corlick? When did you start playing, buddy?
I've been playing since BC from someone in my family, but I first started to PvP was a bunch of classes. I played DK, Mage, Rogue, and all I did was play 2s and Kata. And I would always just sit outside, storm and gates, duel, and I would just play the game. But I was 1700, and I was trying to get my 1750 achievement, never got it. And then MOP came, and I quit the game. And then I came back Prideful season. I played mage, and then I got my first 1900. And then I quit again because I would never like be able to play with anyone. Like no one would want to play with me. And it was because I was one of many DPS. There's way more DPS than healers. And I took that to thought. And I was like, you know what? My CR or my experience is a little low, so it's really hard for me to get Qs. I'm gonna just start playing healer. And honestly, I didn't even expect to actually play healer. I just wanted to play healer to get Qs. I didn't really want to become a healer player, but like eventually I met
I think it's a misery.
a hunter friend of mine and Nick, and they're both DPS players, and we would always play together and we'd always be farming. And I was like, you know what? I don't even mind playing healer now because we were always just winning games and we're doing good every Q session. So after like WOD, I just decided to just stick with healer.
Healer is one of those classes that really kind of grows on you, I think.
I didn't want to play it at all.
Yeah. But I mean, I tell you what,
But you're good at it now.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing is that like healing is like actually, I mean, especially now, I think it's really kind of fun.
Yeah, no, I enjoy now that I feel like now that I'm much better. I feel like as a healer, especially as a Resto Shaman, I control the game a lot.
Well, I wanna talk to you guys about your games because I mean, I didn't see what you guys played off screen, but I mean, you went up against the Rejects, which I have to say I was actually really annoyed at you guys for taking out Rubcub. Not gonna lie,
We just played our best.
he's yeah, he's my jam, man. I was there last BlizzCon cheering him on in the final round, and the fact that he didn't get it, I was really hoping that he'd get a shot this year, but you guys really spoiled that. And you spoiled it in a fantastic way. I mean, don't get me wrong, great games. But and then the one I really want to talk to you about is versus Shore. Cause you guys, I mean, you put up a good fight, but you guys got aced 2 games in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And then came back in this epic reverse sweep. I mean,
yeah, it was.
I mean, what clicked in your head, or clicked in your guys' playstyle that you're like, oh, wait a second, if we just do this, we got him.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I mean, because
just
go ahead.
just using just playing more defensive. I feel like playing like more defensive against Shore because they weren't playing with a Holy Pally was just so important. When we played against the Holy Pally version of that comp, which is obviously different specs, but playing against the Holy Pally version is just harder because they outrun you, they outmonk you because they have Hodge, they have Bops. Your rogue can only stop when your shaman's in CC, so when they just bob, your rogue can't do anything, and therefore you just have to counter pressure them. But against Resto Druid, we just learned, dang, this Resto Druid cannot keep his mana for life. So we're just gonna sit there, wait every go, kill the DPS once they go, and then just their go is useless. And we just spam damage all game, clone mage, hex mage, get CC on Druid eventually, get pressure, get Trinket of Blind, and just dampen out the whole game until Electrocute we just spam Purge.
Yeah, Alex is exactly right. It's if you actually watch the games back, the first 2, we're kind of known for playing sub Dancing with the Stars, and you guys have seen maybe in the previous Resurgent tournaments and stuff. So when Assassination is the best spec, and we kind of needed to play that, it's a more defensive style. And like if you watch the first 2 games of those, we've played against Rogue Mage after Rogue Mage as our comp. You know, so we should know what to do. And if you watch those, I kind of ran in and we tried to play it offensively like you would with sub and go for CC really early. And after the games, Alex and Nick were just like, God, mainly Alex was like, yo, just like what he just said, you know, just sit back. Like we have Purge, we outmana the Druid every time. They're playing sub. We counter they were playing sub RMD. We're like, we counter their goes every time. We keep the mage CC'd. Like we win the game later in the game. We have Electrocute Purge. Like there's no reason for us to force a kill. We're just so used to doing that. We had to just get in our heads that we have an Asa Rogue and that we'll just, you know, we'll win the game in the long term. And after that, you know, the games just were so much easier. If you watch it, we're like exactly like
it's like game 2 was like close, And then game 3, it just like fell into place. And like every time they win on you guys, you always had that nice little cushion. Things got a little scary, but never too much to handle. And you just outplayed them consistently. And I really want to stress to the to our listeners how hard it is to reverse sweep. I mean, and you guys will be able to attest to this, because if you win that first blind pick, the back and forth, and if you trade out every other match, you get to pick the map, you get to pick comp after seeing what they pick. And so the ability to counter comp is there, the ability to strategize, because you're picking the map of like, okay, what do we have to play on this map? And you guys lost all that advantage and had to win every single round going into blind maps and blind picks.
Yeah.
I think that's I mean, being able to reverse sweep is like a very exciting like feeling, but I feel like it's just something that we shouldn't have happen often. Like I feel like we should have probably 3-0 Shore. The first game they got on us when reversing the rejects, when they beat us 1-0. That shouldn't have happened either. I feel like as long as like we keep like, as long as we know what game we're playing, then like we should never lose. But sometimes like we get too offensive, too defensive, or we're not offensive enough.
And it played out. It played out the way I stated in when you guys went up against Super Frogs. And it was a 3-2 to Super Frogs, and they would win on the blind pick.
Yeah.
I mean, when you guys didn't know what they were playing, they were able to just, they got to choose the map, they got to choose their comp after you guys picked, and they were able to pull it out because of that. And you guys played amazing. I mean, it was very tight games, and even the last game that against the Super Frogs, you went in really hard and you almost got the rogue, and then I think it was a smoke bomb right there at the tail end that saved his bacon.
Yeah.
And then he was able to, because of that smoke bomb, he was able to reverse pressure and get you. It was Nick. He got Nick.
Yeah. Those games were pretty frustrating.
And it was just that, oh gosh, man, those games were incredibly tight. I mean, it was go versus go versus go versus go. And it was just like,
yeah. Nuke and Arsham mirrors, and I mean, it was a mirror to us, and so Alex can attest to this. It's pretty frustrating for us. The other games, obviously, we played pretty well, and we could have even played better. But when you play against a mirror, and we were playing a comp that we played for years ahead of time, we were kind of known on ladder as being Rogue Munkin players. We played this comp over and over, and then they come in and Channibals on Munkin, and Wealthy Man's a main mage playing as Rogue, which mad respect to those guys. You know what I mean? They understood the matchup and what to do, but we should be able to outperform them, you know what I mean? Seeing as how our track record of playing this comp so much. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, they're close games and everything, but if we really know what we need to do, going in and we execute, there's no reason that we shouldn't be able to beat. We're confident to beat pretty much any team, I would say.
I mean, if any of the
That's amazing.
The third place teams are supposed to go to BlizzCon, it should be that team. Those guys are definitely have a good shot at BlizzCon.
Oh, they're definitely crazy, but you know what I mean. As far as when you have practice, those guys are some of the best players out there. I mean, those guys are just good at the game at every class. It just is what it is.
When you're playing your mains and you're up against people playing alts, it kind of makes you wonder, should you not be winning that matchup? I guess that's what you're saying.
Yeah, well, yeah, to an extent. It's just when you practice the comp like we do, every matchup every time. You know what I mean? You think you should know what to do, but then they come in and play just as well as we do. It can be kind of frustrating.
It's like,
yeah.
No, I have to ask you guys. I want to switch up a little bit though. Not just focusing on the latest tournament, but what got you guys into tournamenting? Like you mentioned it really at the beginning there, but what took you guys from just playing ladder to actually getting into tournaments and doing that? What was the thinking behind it? How about Corlick?
I don't really know. I just wasn't satisfied. Like getting rank 1 or getting glad. Like I'm still nowhere near satisfied like playing this game yet. But that's really like what drove me at least, and I think my team too. I feel like we're not satisfied yet until like we've really like accomplished something, and we're gonna keep working until we do.
All right, Tiber, Eddie, same thing.
Yeah, for the most part, for me. I mean, I don't know. I don't really like I just keep ladder literally just for fun. It's never like a competitive thing for me. Just whatever. And then tournaments are much more like fun to try hard in.
We actually played in tournaments before people even knew, because we played before even the CSTV and Resurgent happened. We actually played in like some of the cups offline games, and we won like a series here, you know what I mean, but didn't make it to the live games. And we're like, man, like we can actually do this. We beat Evangeline and SSDS's team. We were like, well, that was kind of cool, you know. We had a counter into them, but we're like, man, we can play in these series. And that's when the Resurgent tournaments came around, and then it kind of jump started us, and like, this is fun, you know what I mean? Like, we have something to work towards now more than just getting rank 1 or climbing ladder, you know. We can play with against the best teams.
We're one of the more entertaining teams to watch. I feel like when you see us now, I feel like you're gonna see a fast-paced game, because we always bring it whenever it's tournament time, always, and it's.
Well, yeah, you guys are aggressive as hell,
yeah,
which is awesome.
Oh yeah. No, and the games, I mean, all your games were just great to watch. I mean, there were definitely some nail-biter moments all around, but, I mean, you guys kept your cool. There was never any, like, panic moments that I saw. You know, you guys would play your game, and, I mean, always solid, and sometimes you won, sometimes you lost, but, I mean, always a solid game whenever you guys played. And I kind of want to ask you about the behind-the-scenes of the tournament. So how is it like? So we see the live stream. We know that you've got your two teams just kind of sitting there and they're playing their matches. What are you guys doing while the live stream happens? I mean, if it's not your game, are you just actively waiting, or are you watching the event? Or
well, depending on the team, like who's playing. Like if the team that's up right now is the team that we're most likely gonna watch the game, check how they play, kind of predict what comp they're gonna do, kind of get ourselves ready. But if it's just no one really, we just play ladder, just queue RMP or Dance with the Stars, just play, keep ourselves warmed up.
Okay, so you're actively, I mean, you're at your computers and you're taking advantage of the time to go over strategies and playing in matches while you're waiting for them to queue you. And so then you'll get the phone call, or how do they even talk to you? Do they just message you in game?
Mm-hmm. Message me in game, yeah.
And so you get this nice little Blizzard representative, hey, are you guys ready?
Exactly that.
Have you guys ever had to throw a match because they messaged you and said, hey, are you ready?
No, leaving a live game? I don't think so. I think we're usually pretty good because we have the stream in hand, so kind of timing when we're going to play.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. So you're smart about it. All right,
yeah,
cool.
Well, actually...
And then in the offline games, is it pretty much just free-for-all that everybody has their matches and then they turn in all at once? Or is it more organized where this team goes first, then this team, then that team? Or is it pretty much, hey, you two are fighting, have at it. We have our moderator watching the match, and that's how they catalog it.
Usually we play it on our own.
You're talking about the offline games that are Winstead?
Yeah, offline.
Okay.
Usually we play it on our own. Screenshot the wins. That's just the best way how they do it. Unless you're versing like a major team, like a big organization team, like Method Orange, then you need to have an admin to be watching the game, because it's a bigger deal from there. But as far as the offline game,
crazy offline games too that happen that people don't see on stream. Like, we first versed Method Orange offline multiple times, you know what I mean? I've had good games against them. We versed like good teams, you know what I mean? There's good matchups on the offline games that don't get to be streamed, but at least I feel like it that could be interesting to watch.
Now, are you guys allowed to record and stream those matches, or is it all just you just play and then you're good?
Are you required to, or like are you allowed to?
Can you? Can you is the question.
I'm not sure. I haven't really had the thought about streaming yet, so I should probably ask an admin, because I'd probably be very curious. But as far as I know, I don't think anyone has.
I think C-Dude did with his
I've
volume
seen,
off.
I've seen other streamers. I've seen other streamers where they have participated in the tournament, and then after the tournament, they have posted YouTube videos of their recording. They recorded the match.
Okay, so they might not be allowed to stream it live.
No, I think you can actually stream it live, but like for the most, because I actually do remember the cup we were playing, or the last cup, that C-Do streamed the games, but he had his whole stream muted. And
yeah, because they could talk about strategy and counter comps.
Yeah, so I guess it's more like a private thing. Like actually, I think you're allowed to stream your games. I think it's just more a private thing of why most people don't.
Well, and I guess you could give away what you're doing, because nobody can really see the offline games except for the people competing in them and the admin.
Yeah.
And so if you stream your game, you might be kind of giving away to other teams what's going on in those games. So I could see that. I can see why it doesn't happen.
I would suspect as well. Not that I know for sure, but I would suspect that the stream is actually somewhat delayed to actual, at least for the /Warcraft stream, to extend out that time frame. So then, while the casters are looking at everything and discussing stuff, that it's not influencing the teams as to what they're picking.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Because usually like when we played a game like on stream, like they would ask us for map pick and stuff, like while the stream like delay is still going on, like the game is still going on, and then like after the game ends, like a minute after, like we would already be set up and good to go.
That makes
sense. You watched back the VOD actually one time against the Rejects. We won the last game, and I typed in the Warcraft chat before the game was actually over, and Brock like tagged me, and he's like, "Spoiler, man," because the game actually hadn't ended.
Yeah, I actually heard about that later on through another thing where somebody's like, "Can you guys like stop the people from jumping in chat and spoiling the game because it didn't end yet?"
Yeah, probably was not the best thing to do, but I was excited. It was a good game.
Well, no, yeah, that was again phenomenal games, buddies.
So there's actually a good heavy delay between what's being lived and what's being streamed.
It's like a minute or so, I think, a minute or two, maybe 2 minutes.
I think it's like 5.
Oh, is it really? Maybe, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's.
Does make sense.
Yeah.
Well, and it would definitely give the announcers a little bit more time to kind of gather their thoughts and plan what they're going to talk about. So I could definitely see why they postpone the stream. You know why they delay the stream so much. So,
well, no, I don't think the casters are on a delay. I think the casters are on the live. I think what it is a delay between what's being recorded and what's being transmitted on Twitch, so that it creates a big enough buffer that disallows people to watch the stream and then be like, "Oh, that's what they're. Oh yeah, they talked about. That's a really good point. We should do this because that would be counter to that." Right? It allows for the players to make their own decisions, and therefore no influences from any of the analyst stuff that is coming from the caster desk.
That's a good point, because there were a couple of times the casters were talking, and not necessarily in your guys' games, but in other matches, we were like, why don't they just do this? And you're sitting there going, yeah, man, if they were to just do that, they'd just roll over the other team.
Right.
So good point, Garrison. Good point. If they had an ear open to what the announcers were saying, then it would be very, very much like, hey, you know what? That announcer's right. Why don't we do that, guys?
I know, right? All right. Well, hey, guys, I think we should start rolling into our outro stuff. But into that, first, usually when we're talking about stuff being technical,
I've got so many more questions that I want to ask.
I have a hockey sock full of questions.
Okay. Well, here, let me ask 2 more questions. 2 more questions.
Okay,
just
2
2
more.
2, and they're relatively quick. So you guys played heavy in Legion. How do you feel about the stat template going away? Good or bad?
I think it's good going away. I just don't like the um the the amount of availability of stats you have in your gear through PvP. Because I realized when playing my shaman this expansion, I've had to grind so much PvE. I transferred to Zul'jin to join a raiding guild just to raid for 2 weeks just to get these like best in slot pieces that were so important for PvP. And like I wish I could just do that PvPing. I don't mind I don't mind everyone doing something different. Like in WoD, like when Frost Mages had like a mastery build instead of haste, or something like that. You know, people doing different builds that can actually help in certain arena situations. Like a shaman wearing a staff like could help against like a rock comp, but not being able to get like what gear you need or want like through PvP, like it doesn't have to be free. It just has to be something, you know, with PvP. Like I'll do any PvP for gear, but I don't want a PvE.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, and then second question is
Well, sorry. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on. So we heard from one person, Eddie and Tiber. What do you guys feel about the differences between gear in BFA and Gear Matters and all that versus the stat templates and only eye level cared in Legion?
I think it's good for sure, like what they did now, but the only thing that's different or that I think should be changed is like there should be a vendor. And like this piece of week thing with capping is really awful. 355 gear is so bad. So I feel like that should already been raised, and then just putting in a vendor instead. It would be so much easier.
Yeah, Eddie's right. The vendor helps, and like Alex said, getting it from PvP is really important. But also, I like the idea of getting your own gear and making sets, but they don't explain what's going on very well. I don't know if you guys have been hearing about how it's like half templated right now, where if your item level is lower, you actually take less damage in PvP, and they haven't really explained how it works. Because there's people right now
they don't know
on EU with like they're in full greens and they're using all the gem slotted green pieces, and they're actually performing better. So I don't mind there being no stat template supposedly, but if we had a little more information on how it actually works, you know, it would be a lot better, because people can kind of take advantage of it like that. It's pretty frustrating for people that are grinding out gear and stuff.
Yeah, I've seen the same thing where there are people stacking greens with gem slots and blue versatilities in them, and they're outdoing number wise a person statted out in blues and purples, and it's a little frustrating.
So what you're saying is that as I freshly cap these tunes that I'm working on, to just go straight for the greens with gem slots and kind of, you know, cheese it while I can.
Yeah. Well, like you can queue up for arena at like 90k HP, and you actually take less damage, like percentage wise, so you aren't as a disadvantage like you just hit 120, if that makes sense. You're actually still able to hold your own a little bit.
This is that whole item level scaling based on level and eye level, and how we talked about the last podcast there, right? What said about how eye level has created a sliding scale that has instituted if you have a lower item scale, it scales your traits higher to then do things that were not intended. And it's anyways.
Okay.
All right. What's your other question?
Second question is, what has the impact of the global cooldown changes had on you guys? Positive, negative, indifferent?
I don't think it affected me at all. I feel like just now, like things that like global mistakes you could have done like back in Legion, you can't really do now. So just all about like just pressing your buttons correctly, I guess. But for me, the global change didn't really do much. I got used to it in beta, you know. So for me, it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's affected me that much, or any of the classes that I play, as much as maybe some of the other ones, but I don't mind it really, to be honest.
Okay. Eddie? How do you feel?
It's only really affected. Well, for me, just like Frost and Arcane, like they're like AP and their Icy Veins or whatever on GCD now, but Fire's Combust isn't. So that's pretty much the only thing that I've really noticed. It's just those two.
Very cool.
Then I'll go ahead and save the rest of my questions for another time.
Thank you, guys. No, truly, I appreciate you withstanding the grilling that we gave you. So,
No problem.
This is awesome.
Fun.
No problem. Thanks for having us.
Oh, no worries. We're not done yet. Oh. Don't walk away.
I'm right here. I'm still on my seat.
All right.
Good,
So,
good.
my next. So normally we always kind of follow up with two parts. One is strategies and stuff like that. Do you have any tips for up and coming players as far as playing tournaments versus just playing ladder?
Don't. Wait. Players for trying to play in tournaments or players trying to play that?
Yeah, to get away from ladder and move into tournaments.
Oh, just find people you're comfortable playing with, because it's always better to just like be able to talk. Like when you're with players that you're comfortable with. Like for me, myself, like I always play with partners that I can get mad. Like I could show emotion because like certain things that are happening like that shouldn't be happening to us, like we should be fixing that up. And for me, it's all about communication, and it's all about cooperation. This game isn't a solo game like how it could have been, like I guess in Kata, how people made it to be. Now to me, it's a team game. If one partner is lackluster, then it's just gonna affect your whole team. So don't look for temporary players. Always just look for people that you can just you can always play with. You play with their alts. You'll practice with them. Just all about finding the right partners.
Okay.
It's all about.
So thank you very much, Korlik. I think that is some phenomenal advice. Between I don't know, Tiber and Eddie, do you guys have anything else you want to add in on that?
I think he's right for sure what Alex said, but I think it's just the fact of like signing up. I feel like a tournament environment's much different than the ladder with like who you can play with and deal with, because people are like different when there's like stuff on the line. But I think just like signing up is like the best part about it. Literally like you don't lose anything for signing up. I don't know.
I'd say
no point not to.
As important as having like people comfortable to play with is like, don't like over prepare yourself with like comps. I feel like people do that a lot where they like feel like they need to have like all these comps and stuff ready, and like just like get comfortable playing one thing really well. And like even though it may not be ideal in the matchup, you know what I mean? You really know what you're doing, and you can kind of figure out from there. And just like that's what seemed to work for us. So I think it can work for a lot of people. Just kind of playing what you know instead of forcing a lot of different comps or things. Just kind of simplifies it in that way. When you sign up, you're not overthinking all of it. Just kind of playing.
So don't necessarily chase the flavor of the month. Just become really good at what you're doing.
That's a good way to think about it. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Okay. I have one last question just as far as strategies go. Does the paper, rock, scissor meta really still exist? I know that was the thing back in Legion, and I was under the understanding that it was going to happen again still in BFA, but I'm not really seeing it, and especially listening to you guys. So what do you guys think?
Not right now. Definitely not. I feel like Legion was more like less of a class variation in my opinion. Now like RMP is very good right now. Jungle is very good. Boomy Rogue is very good. DH War is very good. Turbo is very good. This KFC is good. Red Hunter is very good. Like there's a bunch of comps right now that are very good. So rock paper scissors right now, because not everyone has locked in to their second class. Is perfect on their ults yet. Has played enough. Like you can beat any comp right now as a comp you're playing. I've seen it before. considering when the jungle Dillipu was versing the Turbo won, but Dillipu farms every other Turbo except that one Turbo.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
I think even though anything is a counter, like you still win. And I think the Arm Pally matchup versus us, when we were playing Booming Rogue, it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't like completely favored in their side, but slightly favored because they had the offensive bops and the offensive freedoms and Hodge and just the Assassin Rogue with MS on the Boomkin against a Resto Shaman. But that didn't matter because at that moment you can't just play rock paper scissors because it's still early into the expansion. You're gonna have to find a way to play your comp to beat that comp.
Okay. Wow, that's a pep talk. That's a dude. You should become a coach. That's a pep talk. All right. So
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. Okay, guys. So we always ask this. This is kind of a bomb usually for a lot of people. Not in a bad way, but like kind of like they're not prepared for it. So we always ask, what is one thing you would change? So as far as tournaments go, is there anything that you would change as far as, I don't know, the where to find a tournament or how tournaments are run that maybe you feel would be something you need to change? How about that?
No, I actually think the tournaments right now are very smooth. For me, just I sign up on Battlefy, and then I just get a BTI request, and I just interact with the admin through the game, and they get the game. They get the game started for me and everything.
Okay, nice. Eddie, how about you, man?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's all really smooth. Like they have everything pretty much down pat. It feels like for the most part for like all the tournaments that we compete in so far.
Okay, Tiber.
Yeah, I've never really had any struggle. I mean, it seems like the people that they have doing it are pretty experienced, and it goes pretty smoothly. Alex tends to take care of that
All
stuff.
right.
So,
Winstead.
Well, I think the obvious answer is that there needs to be a technically PvP team competing in these tournaments. I don't think this is the first time I've made that suggestion, nor do I feel that it will be the last, unfortunately. But I do feel that I definitely want a piece of at least the experience of showing up in the tournaments. So,
see, I'm still waiting for a tournament that is at the 400 CR level.
I'll make sure I sign up for that one because I'm around there too.
Yeah.
All right,
Garrasar, we'll talk. We'll talk.
Personally, what I would like is more proliferation of what tournaments are going on. I am constantly on the look, and I miss stuff all the time. And I'm looking regularly. I can only imagine how frustrating it would be for a person who wants to play a tournament, and the only thing they can do is either something being done by a guild or by GCD. I am so happy that Resurgent Esports is up and running, and there's that available. But it sounds to me, and from stuff coming from the community, that there are other tournaments that I'm just not aware of, that I can't even tell everybody about. So if I'm looking and I'm supposed to be telling you guys to inform me about them, and I don't know about them, like, how are you supposed to find them, right? So I wish there was a better way. And I get it that all these websites want to do their own thing and they don't want to share information, but it really aggravates me that there's not some way to aggregate all that data to find a place to see what's going on for tournaments, to get yourself in there. Anyways,
I think
that's what I would like.
I think everyone that want, like, people that want to host like local tournaments, like, should always be reaching out to Blizzard, because it's their game, and if you're able to cooperate with them to help your tournament, and that's a big deal because that makes your tournament blow up more because Blizzard knows about it too.
But that should that really be Blizzard's responsibility though? You know what I mean? Like,
well, how much
don't see
responsibility do you want to put on Blizzard? You just have them create a website that says, "Hey, if you're doing a tournament, post it here."
Yeah,
you know, and that's just Blizzard putting up a website that says, "Hey, input tournament here."
That would be good.
You know,
so something like how they have for the Hearthstone with Fireside Gathering.
Yeah.
Where you can just create a tournament up there, and then people can then get flushed to
people can join. Yeah,
another site or whatever. Yeah, that sounds okay. I like it. All right, Blizzard, get on it. They're not even listening.
It's not like they're busy.
Be listening.
It's not like they're busy. They don't have BlizzCon in 3 weeks. You know, it's
they got nothing. All right, okay. All right, that's it, guys. Again, thank you very much. We're going to roll into our trivia question. Now, I want to be clear. There was some confusion. Me and Winstead, we talked our last episode. There was some back and forth. I want to be clear. So the last episode was the warning order. That was the warning that we're going to be doing this tournament. This question and the answers thereof from this question and any other question up until New Year's Eve is going to be the ballots for the game time that Winstead has agreed to give. Okay, so now we got that done. So the previous episode's question was, Botor had just joined Temple Storm that week. So what are the names of the 2 other teams that he had played for or played on? And the answers are Splice, Method, and SK Gaming. So I want to give a congrats to Dice being the first correct answer, the first person to correctly answer for that question. And just there was a bunch of people that sent in. That's why I had to make the clarification because there was some confusion on our last one. So this is clear. This next question I'm about to ask, first person that answers it, the sense of the correct answer is going to get 2 ballots into some free game time. Everybody else that answers it correctly is going to get 1 ballot. All right? Okay. So this episode's trivia question is, in the Arena World Cup at BlizzCon 2017, only 1 team used a Ret Paladin in their comps. What was the name of that team? Send your answer to technicallypvp@gmail.com, and the first correct answer will earn a shout out on our next show. And, like I said, 2 ballots to free game time. All right, into shout outs. Do you guys have any shout outs?
Just our 4th member, Nick the Rogue. He's probably honestly the best rogue in the game right now, without a doubt.
Compared to Waz? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think Nick is competitive with Waz, but
all right.
Yeah, none of this would have been possible without him. He's a big partner. I've known him for many years. He's also a very young player, and he's gonna be a big deal once.
All right.
Once seasons come.
Is he gonna grow a mustache? So you can say
I don't know what he wants. I don't know what he wants to do. Just as long as he doesn't look stupid.
I'm sorry. All I can think of is I'm a pretty big deal. They got the big mustache. So it's anyway. All right. I'm getting goofy. I'm sorry, guys. It's been a long night. All right. Tiber, do you have any, or Eddie, do you have any shout outs?
Not just to Nick.
Awesome. I love the team solidarity. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, definitely to Nick. You know, he played really well, and he always shows up at tournaments even more than ever. It's crazy. But also just like, I don't know about the other boys, but I had some people whisper me, you know, supporting us, like that saying it was cool to see us play there. So shout out to everyone that enjoyed watching our games.
Yeah, any Need fans, we love you all.
Mm-hmm. Or old
Big
school
ballers
BBL
only.
fans. Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, guys. Winstead, do you have any shoutouts?
No, man. I'm solid.
All right. Well, I want to give a shout out to Alexander for writing in a question to us. Amongst all the other things that she sends in, always corresponding, which is awesome. But she had a question to me or to us, but I want to post it out to the community. Is if you were to create a PvP related cosplay, what would it be? So actually, I want to challenge everybody. I want you to send in your answers through email, Twitter, or on our Discord, and we'll read them on our next episode, because our next episode is going to be the pre-BlizzCon stuff. So I really want to hear, if you were going to go to BlizzCon and you're going to make a PvP related cosplay, what would it be? Don't worry about your skill level. I'm not asking you to actually do it, but just tell me what you actually would want it to be. All right. And on that, going to BlizzCon. So I have been blessed in such the highest manner that I can think of, that I now have I want to be clear on this. We now have a spare BlizzCon ticket. So we're going to be giving it away.
Kind of a big
now,
deal.
Obviously, it's kind of a big deal. So obviously, this is very last minute. If whoever is going to win this, whoever's going to enter into the contest, you need to be able to make sure that you're going to be able to be there. Because me and you have to meet up, because I have to provide information. You have to be there with information, and we're basically going to have to talk to the people to get it transferred over to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want this to be like just anybody submitting. Just, you have to make sure that if you're going to submit an answer to this contest, that you are actually going to be able to come, because I want to shake your hand. I want to be able to provide this to you. But to earn a free BlizzCon ticket, you need to send in through email. This is going to be through email only, to technicallypvp@gmail.com. Send in a narrative, whatever length you want it to be, about how our podcast has helped you. Send that in to us, and we will make a judgment, right, by next podcast to let you know. Actually, no, that's too short. That's way too close.
I mean, they need to get it in before next show. I mean, the 28th, I think, is probably... So you got a week and a half.
That's really close to be able to get time. No, that's really close. Okay, no. We're gonna have to make it for a week.
So the 24th. I want to give people
a week to the 24th. Okay,
the 24th.
So, by the time, let's make it the 25th, because by the time this gets out there, it'll be the 25th. So, as of the end, I'll make a tweet about this as well. Okay, but let's say by 6 p.m. Pacific time on the 28th, have your answers in. We'll start reviewing and we'll make a decision together. Okay?
I think Winstead, or it's not Winstead, but Winstallen will be the one who makes the final judgment call. I'll just leave it all to him.
I don't trust him.
You are a wise person then. But no, Winstallen's going to pick one, and he'll decide.
Okay, so and that will we'll message the person directly, and we'll announce it on the next show. Okay, so again, send an email how this podcast has helped you, and we'll make a decision in about a week by 6 p.m. on the 25th, and the winner is going to be announced on the next show. And I look forward to meeting that person, because I want to shake your hand. All right, okay, guys, neat. Tiber, Korlik, Eddie, where can people find you on the interwebs? If people want to reach out to you, where are you?
You can always go to my my Twitter. It's at KorlikX, And I stream a good amount on Twitch, and you can also DM me on Twitch at twitch.tv/CorlicX as well.
Awesome. And I'll have a link for that in the show notes as well down at the bottom, along with everything else. Tiber, how about yourself? Where can people find you?
Those are the two, Twitter and Twitch. Anything I can get there is it.
All right.
Just like Alex, you said, you have it all linked up, so I won't bother with saying it aloud.
No, say
any Twitch support is
say
good,
it again anyways, because some people don't go to show notes.
Okay. My Twitter is at Tiber3, and then my Twitch is twitch.tv/Tyclones.
Tyclones, that's awesome.
Those are the ones.
All right, Eddie, where can people find you?
Just Twitter and Twitch. My Twitter is LilPPArcane, and then my Twitch is NeetEddie.
That's all right. That's awesome. All right, and Winstead, can you also start listing some stuff off for our listeners where they can reach us?
Sure. You can tweet the podcast at technically_PvP on Twitter, or email us at technicallypvp@gmail.com. Or if you want to get a hold of a host individually, you can check out our blog spot for individual contact information at technicallypvp.wordpress.com. A link will be in the show notes.
Indeed. And you can also join our Discord and Battle.net community, where those links will also be in the show notes. And I want to thank everyone for listening. Chat with you next time. Good night, all.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
You can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, or directly from the RSS feed at libsyn.com. Please give us some reviews on Apple Podcasts, good or bad. It helps us know what we're doing well or poorly and helps others find the podcast. This has been a presentation of Technically PvP Podcast 2018.